big cities are dealing with smash and grab robberies. A record number of police officers have been shot and killed this year. What is President Biden going to do about all this lawlessness?
Well, Peter, I would say that, one, the president proposed additional funding in his budget over the funding that had been proposed by the prior president to increase and support local police departments, make sure we keep cops on the beat, and we ensure that local communities are working in partnership to crack down on crime and any dangers they see in their community. So that's one of the steps. We've also worked with a range of communities across the country on strike forces, as you know, something we've talked about in the past. We're continuing to implement that from the Department of Justice. But the president absolutely believes that community police forces can have an important instrumental effect in helping keep communities safe.
And does the president still think that crime is up because of the pandemic?
I think many people have conveyed that, and also one of the reasons that one of the root causes of crime in communities is guns and gun violence, and we've seen that statistically around the country.
Right, to your point, so when a huge group of criminals organizes themselves and they want to go loot a store, a CVS, a Nordstrom, a Home Depot, until the shelves are clean, you think that's because of the pandemic?
I think a root cause in a lot of communities is the pandemic, yeah.
A handful of key aides have announced either that they are leaving the vice president's office or are reportedly going to be leaving the vice president's office soon. Is the vice president not satisfied with the staffing that she has had so far, or do people just not want to work for her anymore?
Well, Peter, I would say that working on a presidential campaign, I may be covering one too, I would say, to be fair, and working in the first year of a White House is exciting and rewarding, but it's also grueling and exhausting. It's all of those things at once. And many of the team members you're referencing. And I would just note there has been an announcement about Simone Sanders departing, but there hasn't been official announcements about others. So I would leave it to them and the vice president's team to make any additional announcements. But in my experience, and if you look at past precedent, it's natural for staffers who have thrown their heart and soul into a job to be ready to move on to a new challenge after a few years. And that is applicable to many of these individuals. It's also an opportunity, as it is in any White House, to bring in new faces, new voices, and new perspectives. And I expect you'll hear more from the Vice President's office on that in due time.
So this is not a case of bad headlines about the Vice President and a decision being made to shake up the staff to fix an image issue.
You know, Peter, I think I spoke to it, and I would note that, and I'll just speak to Simone since I knew her before, and she's been officially announced, and I knew her even before she joined the Biden campaign, sitting on many panels with her on CNN sets, and knowing someone like her. She joined the campaign early on, as many of you know. She's been a part of this for 2.5 or 3 years. She's somebody, and anybody who's spent time with her knows that she is whip smart, and she has charisma coming out of her eyeballs, and she's going to do plenty of interesting things in the world in the future. She'll always be a part of this Biden-Harris family, and it's only natural after a couple of years to be ready for something new. And that's what happens in my experience in the past in White Houses often.
Does the Vice President think that staff are to blame for her not making any kind of meaningful progress on the big things in her portfolio, like passing voting rights or addressing the root causes of migration?
I know the Vice President is grateful to all of the staff who have served her. She also understands the excitement and the grueling nature of working on a campaign and working in a White House. And again, as I noted earlier, it's also an opportunity to bring in new faces and perspectives, which is overall a very positive thing.